Hey everyone, this is Charlie the Plug, your host of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, powered by Empower You Ventures. Don't forget to subscribe so you too can be a part of the biggest empowerment network on YouTube and Facebook. We bring you weekly interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship, community involvement, also reaction to business news and community news. This does not happen without your support. Thank you. All right, welcome to another episode of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, episode 147. I'm Charles McKay, aka Charlie the Plug, bringing you another episode of what we call bringing in guests, what we call Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship or community involvement. And we definitely have a special guest who's a difference maker in the city of Detroit. Years of service. We're going to get into talking more about our guests, and I'm excited. Now, we normally don't come on Wednesday, so I guess happy Wednesday to everyone. And I'm kind of doing a new series. I guess you can say this is Politics Wednesday. So if you're a local candidate, particularly in Detroit, you're running for office or you want to get your story out, I'd love to hear from you. We want to serve our audience, the various candidates, so they can be more informed and know what issues they're passionate about and to see how they can earn your vote. And so if you're a candidate and you want to get on our platform and talk about some of the issues, we're in a critical election. Here in the city of Detroit, there's going to be a lot of changes with city council, the mayor's office. And so we want you to be informed and so that you can know to have the information to have the right candidate that you want to vote for. So we're excited about our guests. So I'm going to do somewhat of a formal introduction. He's been doing service in the community for years. And I'm going to actually I got my glasses on. I'm going to read a little bio notes but I'm going to allow him to kind of introduce himself as well. And we'll get into him sharing about his run for city council in Council District 2. So our next guest, who's sitting across from me, I'm going to read a little information. Let's see, I got to pull it out. Here we go. All right. So our next guest, is a native Detroiter, a graduate from McKenzie High School. That's where my parents went to, McKenzie High School.
Good school.
He also attended Eastern Michigan University, a Bachelor's of Science in Criminal Justice, Master's in Human Relations degree from the University of Oklahoma. He's been with the Detroit Police Department. He's a lifetime member, served as Director of Operations for the Michigan Disabled American Veterans. In 2024, after 23 and a half years of military service. Wow, I think that deserves some air horn. He retired from the United States Army and Armed Reserves, Criminal Investigation Division. Attained rank of Chief Warrant Officer, special agent during military tenure, serving in U.S., Korea, Germany, and Iraq. In 2026, after 26 plus years of service, retired from the Detroit Police Department. I believe that deserves another applause. As a detective lieutenant, DPT assignments. So we can go on about the various assignments that he had with Internal Affairs, Detroit Metropolitan Police Academy, Headquarters, Surveillance. Also, he has been an advisor both to the U.S. State and Justice Departments in both military and civilian police capacities. In June of 2006, after retiring from the Detroit Police Department, he returned to Iraq as a civilian contractor, training Iraq police and security forces. In 2007, attained the rank of regional commander. There's tireless commitments to the city of Detroit, 2005, 2009, 2013, and ran for city council. He was elected as city at City Council District 2. We'll go into detail on that, and that was kind of during the COVID years. And we're going to talk about his current candidacy now. But ladies and gentlemen, I can go on and on. There's various accolades. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 147. None other than Detroit City Council candidate Roy McCalister Jr.
Charlie the plug.
Yeah, go ahead.
Charlie the plug. Thank you so very much. First and foremost, I always like to give honor to God.
Okay.
And I want to thank him for not only allowing me to be here, but allowing you and all our listeners to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, I want to give you a happy belated birthday.
All right. Yeah. I appreciate that.
And it's always good to be a year better.
Yes.
It's always good to be a year better.
Yes.
Yes, I am Roy McCalister Jr. and I am running for Detroit City Council to get back into office and continue to build the quality of life for people.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, Charlie, is the fact that I only had really 2 years during my first tenure because of COVID.
Right.
But even because of that, I was still out there impacting and making a difference for the quality of life for our people.
Okay.
I was out doing the vaccinations. I was there every day from the big opening to the close. And it wasn't about being out there to be a councilman to say, oh, I'm out here to no, I was out there just like everybody else working to make sure that people understood the importance of getting them vaccinated, making sure that our first responders were taken care of, making sure that our senior citizens and nursing homes received gloves, masks, sanitation, making sure that there was a difference in there and that we had that quality of life to be out there.
Yeah.
So it's just a thing that I've always served.
Mm-hmm.
I love the city of Detroit. I grew up here. I could have moved, but I've always been back here.
Yes.
And one of the things I want to say is that I'm so proud of District 2 is the fact that it is the highest taxpayer and the highest voting district in the city of Detroit.
Wow.
So that's why I want to come back, because District 2 needs to have that voice. In the city of Detroit, everybody is watching. We need to go there.
All right. Well, I just want to thank you for being on this platform to talk about your candidacy, and thank you for your years of service. And in the beginning, I read that bio, and you shared about your service also.
Yes, sir.
But I want to kind of give our audience a backstory to learn a little bit more about you, because some people they may have heard about you, may see a campaign sign, but they may not know a little bit of backstory. So if someone was to ask you, who is Roy McCalister, what would you tell them? And share a little bit about your background.
Roy McCalister is a person who loves people, and you have to have a heart for people in order to take care of people. It's about a quality of life. You know, I've been doing service from the military to the police department to just being there. I was just stepped down as the director of operations for disabled American veterans. So it's always about service and what can I do to help people. And a lot of times we have people that are in positions, and they will go out and they brag on what they do.
Right.
I do it and I move on. There's so many things that I've done. I don't even remember. People come up here, I really appreciate you, what you did for me.
Right.
Half the time I don't remember, but I say, thank you. It was an honor to do that for
you. Right. That's awesome. So you share your native Detroiter, Mackenzie High School.
Yes, sir.
My parents went there. And I ran the bio of the military and definitely with the police department.
Yes,
so what was the seeds of you wanting to do that kind of work in public service, particularly in the area of criminal justice and working in law enforcement?
Well, it actually started off, my mother always said, you need to be an attorney. You need to be an attorney. So that's why I went into criminology, criminal justice. And then one day I happened to come home and the old jail Hustle building was there. And recruiters was coming down and they were saying, come on the police department. And, I just said, okay, I'll fill out the application, not really looking at anything, because at the time Coleman Young was recruiting black males and, blacks to get on the job.
Right.
And so I did it. And then one thing led to another, and I was wound up being in the academy and being in the police department.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Now, were you a young person at that time?
Yeah,
I'm assuming,
yeah. It was young. And,
were you in college?
In fact, I was getting ready to graduate from college that year.
Wow.
And so it kind of like worked right out, because I came out in 77. Yeah. And then January of 78, I was in the police academy.
Wow. I think that's we want to applaud. being on the front lines in the city of Detroit in
Yes,
particular, I know that that's a big sacrifice,
Yes,
and just putting your life out there to defend the citizens of Detroit. That's very honorable. And as well as you were in the reserves at that time.
Well, what happened, Charlie, was in 1979. What happened? Coleman Young, in order to bring people on the police department, used CETA funding.
Right.
And what happened? They didn't accumulate enough CETA funding, and when the CETA funding ran out,
right,
1,000 officers were laid off.
Oh.
And so then I started looking at. I said, well, I would love to travel. And so a friend of mine who was under the police department, he was a Marine.
Right.
And he wanted me to go into Marines. And I went down to the Marines, and then this Army captain came up to me. He said, hey, look, you got college, and you can do this, you can do that. And that's why I converted over. Okay. But that's what happened as far as I was laid off for 5 years, and I was in the military during that time.
All right.
And that's what happened. Then I came back and stayed with the reserves, and then got activated to active duty when Operation Desert Storm.
Desert Storm. Okay,
yes, sir.
All right. So you were in combat.
Oh yeah. Duty. Okay. I was actually in combat. In fact, when I went back, I was also on the team that captured Saddam Hussein. And it's a crazy story because I interviewed a lot of his people that was on his staff. Right. Interviewed them, and what happened was the first 2 times I went out, and somebody had alarmed him, and he escaped. Mm-hmm. And then the 3rd time when we was going out, I said, "Nah, I ain't going out this time." That's when they captured him. Oh wow! So I was on the team.
Well, you played a role.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
all right.
Yes, sir.
So so you've had real combat experience.
Yes, sir.
Military experience.
Yes,
we
sir.
celebrate that. Thank you for your sacrifice.
It's an honor.
And then being on the front lines in the police force. Now you rose at some point. You rose up to be
commanding officer of homicide. Sir.
Yeah, homicide. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and I've watched a lot of TV shows. And one of my favorite shows growing up as a young adult was a show called Homicide.
Yes, sir.
And I was always fascinated with how they would try to. And it really was it wasn't like a action type, violent type show. It was really dramatic because they was trying to solve cases.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so share us a little bit about that. What was it like being a homicide detective?
Homicide is the most heinous crime there is. Mm-hmm. And again, that's a service because you try to bring closure to families. I mean, you can never bring total closure, but if you can capture the suspect that violated a family member, a loved one, that's the service right there. Right. And we also had what we will bring families together because a lot of times when families are going through a crisis like that, they need that support factor. Right. And so those are some of the things that we had and I looked at as far as, again, service and helping people. Okay. And that's always been about my heart there.
Wow. Yeah. Now, has there been like a case that, I don't know, that was a challenge and, I don't know, had a lot of media attention that you were a part of?
Yes.
Oh.
Last case I did
was
a 3-year-old.
Oh, wow.
And it still touches me today.
Wow.
What happened was her father did not want to pay child support. Mm. So what he did was he went to the gym and he went to the gym. That was his out. Yeah. But what he did, his child was at a nursery home and he went to the gym as his alibi. Right. He left out of the gym, went to the nursery home and made like he was wanted to enroll his child into the nursing home where the child was. Okay. Found out where the child was, shot the 2 people that was there. Wow. Took a table leg and beat the child to death. Mm. Went back to the gym like nothing was happening. Wow. Speaking to the mother, we figured that he had did it, but we had to have proof. Right. Just so happened the 2 attendants that he shot were in comas. Mm-hmm. And we were putting everything together. And they came, just to show how God works, they came out of the coma. Right. And they identified that he was the one. Wow. And that was one of the last cases. And it still sticks with me today, Charlie. Wow. Because when you, again, it's just something when you have a love for people, especially a 3-year-old, and that child was just as beautiful as could be. Wow. And to go through something like that. Wow. It takes a toll.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, and
Yeah. I my day job was with the state of Michigan, and at one point I was a caseworker, Child Protective Services.
Yes, sir.
And there was some things that investigating child neglect and child abuse, and it can be very traumatic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a couple cases now where was not here, but where the mother left the children for several years.
Right.
We have a case where 2 children died because the system failed them overall.
Right.
And so these are the things that we have to make sure, and that's another reason why I want to get back in, to make sure that the system does not fail people.
Yeah.
We can't have that.
Right. And I think that segues into what we're going to talk about next.
Yes, sir.
You kind of shared your background in the military, with the police department, and as a detective lieutenant. So what led you to want to do public service in the capacity with city council? And how did that all come about?
In 1988, the Urban League came here. I was head of security for the president at that time was John Jacob. And when you're his head of security, you go everywhere he goes. And when I went to visit the city council, which was, you're talking about Armour Henderson, folks like that, you looked at them and they said, God, these people really care about the people. They love the people and they want to do whatever. And I said, when I retire from the Detroit Police Department, this is what I want to finally retire with.
Okay.
The city council.
Okay.
And that's why I ran, when you was reading that off, that's why I ran in 2005, 2009, 2013. I was finally elected in 2017. Because it was just something in my heart to take care of people.
Okay.
Yes,
to
sir.
take care of yeah. And you've been doing that in your military service and as a
police
detective?
department, everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Even with, like I said, even with disabled American veterans, looking out for my veterans.
Okay.
Take care of them.
And then when you finally got elected in District 2, I know we touched a little bit about it. That was kind of during the COVID breakout.
Yes,
well, the first was that
2018 to 2021.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So my last 2 years, I really didn't have the capacity. We still made impacts.
Right.
Because number of things that I did was, first thing I did was I passed an ordinance to make sure that all our senior citizen buildings had generators.
Right.
Because now that DTE has taken over, the power, when the power goes out, it doesn't go off for a couple of hours, it goes out for a couple of weeks.
Right.
And if a senior citizen buys their food at the beginning of the year, of the month, and then it goes out, the food spoils.
Right.
Well, the fact is also, if a citizen lives in a high towering building, and that power goes out, that could be the difference between life and death.
Yes.
So
that's true. That's true. Well, so my question is this: you have a dedicated service, military, police. You were on city council before, so what motivates you to come back to want to run again?
The people.
Okay.
The people. Because currently I'm working on my doctorate degree.
Okay.
And in behavioral psychology.
Right.
And being with the disabled American veterans, Charlie, there was parts of Michigan I didn't even know existed because I was all over Michigan looking for them. And so people saying, you need to come back because we don't have the services that we had when you were in office. We don't get the representation that you had when you were in office. And also I had, which came out of my pocket, not my budget, my pocket. I also had an office for them in the district so that they didn't have to go downtown, and that we had people there working to look in to make sure that their concerns and their issues was taken care of. So the bottom line is people, because as I start going back to the community meetings, I'm looking at how we have separated, because one of the things that I did was I had what I call was round tables. I had a business round table, I had a community and presidents round table, I had a millennial round table, and I had a clergy round table. Each one of the round tables was specific to what the interest was. And the objective was for them to build a board, come together. And then hopefully in my next one, the thing was, now we need to bring all the community board members together. And then we spread out. And then we throughout the city, and then throughout the state. And then my objective was to spread us out throughout the country. Because these are the things, especially even now, with what's going on, we need to be collectively coming together and talking about what we need to do. You might have an issue, Charlie, and maybe somebody else might have resolved it. And coming together, you can say, hey, Charlie, this is how it was done.
Okay. All right. So it's the people, service, to get things back in place, to
Yes,
establish the roundtables. What would you say in this go around would be your priorities in office, particularly related to the city of Detroit?
One thing is, again, bringing the organization back for mental health.
Okay.
When I was in, I controlled the mental health task force.
Mm-hmm.
And every 3 months, we would have a mental health task force workshop, because there's a number of therapists and mental health facilities out there, but people just don't know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about mental health, it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody who is challenged with that. Mental health is life.
Mm-hmm.
You could be high up and then something could happen in your life, a death in a family member, finances,
Mm-hmm.
anything that could happen to bring you down. That's mental health. And we need to have people that you can go to and talk to people without, committing suicide or going off and killing somebody or doing some things.
Right.
Mental health is about having the accessibility to people to help you.
Yes. Okay. So mental health is a priority.
Yes, sir.
And I looked at, in preparation for our interview, looked at your campaign website, which we'll show in a minute. There were some other things I thought was interesting. So, and I don't know if this affects District 2, but you had on there about quality grocery stores, and it was something about the housing.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us more about what would your plans be? What would you like to accomplish if elected?
When we're talking about grocery stores, we're talking about how people eat. You can't go to the gas station and get chips, candy bar, and a pop,
Mm-hmm.
which a lot of our folks do, and especially our younger people, and feel that that's a good meal. That's not good for the health. Mm-hmm. What I wanted to do when I was working on when I was in city council is what is called a food desert. Okay. And the food desert is like a prescription where people can go and you have a store where they would subscribe to you what good foods to eat.
Okay.
And look at that. When we talk about looking at how the city is and bringing it together, we also want to look at how we, again, collectively come together. Mm-hmm. So that we are looking out and taking care of each other. Mm-hmm. That's what we've gotten away from. And that's why I want to bring back and make sure that our community and president roundtables are effective.
Okay.
So that we can do that. The other thing is these honorees. Mm-hmm. We had, I was at a meeting one day, and anything that hits my heart, I always have a vision for us. How do we help it out? We had honorees that had been falsely arrested. Mm-hmm. And incarcerated. They had been from 1 to 52 years. Now, once you start hitting 5 and 10 years, that means you've missed a lot of football games, graduations, right. Different things, friends. But when you're talking about 52 years, so what I did was I called them the Michigan 13 because not all of them was from Detroit. Mm-hmm. And I called them down and made sure that they were apologized to mm-hmm. because of the injustice that had been done to them. Wow. I also made it so that they were paid. Mm-hmm. It wasn't bring again about that closure. Money doesn't bring about, but it assists them. It also helps them to get acclimated back into society. Mm-hmm. Because when you're talking about 20, 25 and more years, a lot of things have changed. That man that been in there for 52 years, there wasn't even cell phones. Right. So you got to help them incorporate and get back in. Right. So these are the things that, I look at, and it's just something that, like I say, when I see something, how do we help people? Right. How do we make sure that the quality of life, which is another priority of mine, okay. How do we make sure that the quality of life mm-hmm. is done and taken care of the people?
Okay. I'm curious to know, because your background in law enforcement and military, mm-hmm. Do you have any either concerns or how you would work with law enforcement, or what do you think what can be some improvements? I know that they said that the crime rate has dropped mm-hmm. in the city of Detroit, so mm-hmm. shout out to that. But anything you think needs to be addressed as it relates to policing, law enforcement, or the city crime?
Well, in law enforcement and military, you're always that family. Mm-hmm. And I'm always be a family to law enforcement. I love it. Mm-hmm. But what I also am going to look at, if you're causing a problem to give our Detroit Police Department a black eye, mm-hmm. my objective also is to remove you, because that's not the job for you. Right. And when I was on city council, I was the chair for Internal Operations Standing Committee, okay. Which meant all lawsuits, all things that happened with police, DDOT came before me. Mm-hmm. And those are the things that I looked at and saying, why is this continuously happening? talking to the chief, talking to people and saying this needs to stop because our people cannot be subjected to somebody trying to abuse a citizen.
Right.
Just because you have the authority.
Right. Well, that's good that you want to make sure you have good people in place who are not abusing the citizens and doing their job, enforcing the law and protecting citizens, but not abusing them. Not abusing them.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So I think that deserves some applause. So I'm going to share my screen here and show your website, and we can kind of get going to why voters should vote for you for those who live in District 2.
Well, the thing of it is that it is not about me. It is about us, because that's the issue there. When you're talking about an individual, why should it be? No, it's about us. Do we want to build our quality of life? I am here. I'm bringing my experience as the regional commander of the 5 Northern Province, my experience with the police department, my experience in the military.
Yes.
And let's come together. Let's talk about these things.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie, you might have an issue that I don't even think of, but unless I speak with you, I won't know what that issue is. But then once I find out what that issue is, let's address it. Let's get it right for you. I want you to feel a part of this quality of life for you. So it's not necessarily about me, but I want you to allow me to assist you to come in and help you.
All right. The audience can now see, those who watch the replay and those live, they can see your campaign website. I think you have let me see, let me go to that website here. Yeah, I think you have a little video on
Hello, my name is Roy McCalister Jr. I was first elected in 2017. Together, we accomplished many great things, but we're not finished. This is why I'm announcing my run for Detroit City Council District 2. During this campaign, I look forward to earning your vote. Thank you so very much, and may God bless you.
All right, so that's the campaign website. I want to show where people can they can actually find you on social media. So that's the website. For those who are interested in learning more about Roy McCalister Jr.'s campaign, you can go to his website. You can also donate if you're interested in supporting this candidate. He's passionate about serving. He's experienced. He's been in the serving the Council District 2 before, and looking for earn your vote to come back. You can follow him on Instagram, Facebook. There's the social media handles. So if you don't mind, of course, there's this is not an endorsement. So I'm creating a platform for people to share what's going on. And I'm in District 5, so I can't vote for District 2. But what would you say is different from you and as opposed to the current candidate that you would like to share with our audience? Charlie,
not only the current, but there's very few people that have the experience that I have. Mm-hmm. Very few people. And it's not about, I have this ego. It is about being with people. One of the things that you showed was my website, McCalisterD2.com, is I'm reaching out to people because I want to come to your home. Mm-hmm. as a group, talk to your community, talk to your neighbors. Let's talk. Let's come together, because I want you to feel like I feel, as far as we have to make sure that we are taken care of. All of us are taken care of. It's like a family. Mm-hmm. And I always feel like that, a family. It's not because I'm elected or this, it's about the family. District 2 is my family.
Okay.
And whether you like me or dislike me, I'm going to make sure that you're taken care of. I'm not going to say, you didn't vote for me. No. When I get back in there, whatever your issues is, let's address it. Let's get it taken care of.
So basically, you're saying you're going to be accessible. You'll
always accessible.
Have an office where people can come to you, can do the round tables again.
Yes, sir.
And I remember when you were doing those round tables.
And the other thing is, when there's an issue, let's have a town hall meeting.
Okay.
Because you have to, and that's another thing I used to have.
Right.
Let's have a town hall meeting so you can understand. When I first got in there, one of the first things I did was I brought all the finance people so people could understand what the budget process was like.
Okay.
And what people are going through.
Okay.
That was a town hall meeting. And I would like to feed people too.
Okay.
Because that's that's another thing. I don't want you to come there and your stomach is growling and everything. Right. I like feeding people. So let's talk again. It's about talking and what do we need to do.
Right.
One of the other things I want to do is a disaster team, because what I did was I was trying to work with the state representative to put a 10% tax on Nestle water for the infrastructure. And what happens is a lot of times when things happen in Washington and Lansing and beyond, when you talk about Detroit, they say, skip Detroit. But what I wanted to do was make it so that bridges and tunnels, as well as our infrastructure, was taken care of. Therefore, they would want it. And so therefore, what happened in Southwest Detroit, I believe had I continued on and got reelected, we would have got that 10% and that issue wouldn't have happened. So, but the thing of it is let's get a disaster team together. So, because we're going to have another crisis, then what do we do? We want to be able to do. Let's be proactive, not reactive.
That sounds good. As we kind of wrap things up, some people are saying that the downtown has experienced the rebirth, the revival, but there's concerns about the neighborhoods. And what would you say you would help in terms of economic development for the local neighborhoods?
Charlie, that was one of the things that I campaigned on in 2017.
Right.
And all the issues that I campaigned on, I accomplished. And one of those was bringing development back to the communities, helping our communities. Let's bridge that gap between businesses and community, because both of them are working together. And those are the things. Revitalization of infrastructure. Those are the things that I look forward to. District 2 is also one of the most historical districts. Throughout there, I've made sure that the 8 Mile district is a historical district federally. We have 2 schools that are historical district. We have, 2 buildings, I should say, Johnson Rec Center and Higginbotham School, historical. We have the Birdwood Wall, which used to separate blacks from whites, historical. So these are the things you have to have a vision as far as not only taking care of people, but how do we bring people in to say, God, Detroit is great. I'm just, like I said, when I talk about this, I just get a rush, and it's just great, because I love Detroit. Yes.
So for those who are watching and who will watch the replay and they resonate with you and what you're doing, what's the best way they can be supportive of your campaign?
Come on out. Let's come out. Let's talk. Okay. Go to McCalister, D2 MCCALISTER.
We have the information.
D2.com.
Okay.
Go in and come on out. I have meetings within the district.
Okay.
And then I have a team that's on there. I know Kelly. She's one of my team members, and we bring people together because that's what it's all about. Making everybody inclusive.
Yeah. And do you have any announcements for any events that's coming up? Or?
Yes, we have. We have a fundraiser that's going to be happening on April the 24th.
24th. Okay.
It's a unique date too for me.
Okay.
It's my birthday.
Oh, it's your birthday. All right.
But also, it's a new day, and that's
April 24th.
That's going to be from 5 to 8, and it's going to be at Good Times on the Avenue.
Okay.
But I'm also working on June.
Now, is that a fundraiser?
That's a fundraiser.
Is it like you got to pay per plate or per person or
no
donation or
just donation? You come in, I've everything is paid for, and you come on in. But the other thing I want to impress is June 14th. I'm working on having a mental health workshop.
Okay.
And that's where I want people to come in because we have so many mental health issues.
Okay.
And that's going to be June 14th, and that's going to be at UOD. Right now, I'm working on UOD, the Student Center in the conference room.
Okay. Yes. So the 24th is your birthday celebration and fundraiser.
Right. And then June 21st, I'm having another fundraiser at Focus Hope.
At Focus Hope.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you got some great things coming up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I want to make sure people see, put that website up again. So you can follow on Instagram, Facebook, the website. Got some events coming up June 21st. Celebrate birthday with candidate Roy McCalister Jr. Donate to his campaign if you're passionate about what he's doing to bring him back to City Council. June 14th. There's Mental Health Day at possibly, I believe, at U of D. And then there's something else you have on the 21st.
21st is going to be at Focus Hope.
Oh, Focus Hope. Focus Hope, 21st. Yes. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So any parting words as we wrap things up? Let's cover everything about what you
covered everything. I mean, there's just so much that we could talk about. But my thing is, let's come together.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that I wasn't able to complete.
Yeah.
I want us to complete those things together and then move forward, because the vision is always moving forward.
Okay.
But make sure that you're inclusive when we move forward.
And the primary is in August?
Primary is August the 5th.
August the 5th.
And the general is November the 6th.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So August the 5th. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm asking everybody, I need your support. I need your vote.
Okay.
And let's go ahead and do it.
Let's go ahead and do it.
As a family.
All right. Well, our platform is about celebrating difference makers in the city of Detroit,
yes,
and giving them their flowers, and just letting you share the backstory. I'm pretty sure there's people, maybe their first time hearing some of the things, the stories about you being a detective, and that case you talked about,
yes,
your military experience, and the things you accomplished at City Council. And we're here to celebrate you. We want to thank you for your service, and we wish you the best in District 2 in the election. And I want to encourage people, if you're finding value in what we're doing, please like, share, subscribe. We want to show the algorithm on these social media streets that positive, uplifting, informative content is important too. We don't got to be trashy and spilling the tea all the time. I know that's what y'all like, but show the algorithm that, hey, we want to be informed. We want to know what's going on. We want positive, uplifting content as well. So please like, share, subscribe. And if you want to learn more about our guest today, we'll have some information in the show notes. Please go to the website, the campaign website, and participate in those events that was just announced. So I want to thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
All right. God bless you, and God bless the listeners that are listening in.
So that concludes our episode. I'll be back here next Monday live with another Detroit difference maker and another great guest. And want to wish everyone a good night and enjoy. I don't know if it's going to rain tonight or what's going on for the weekend, but hopefully, I believe spring is officially coming soon.
Tomorrow.
And so hopefully you get a little bit more spring weather. And I'll see you guys next Monday. Hey, everyone. This is Charlie the Plug, your host of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, powered by Empower You Ventures. Don't forget to subscribe so you too can be a part of the biggest empowerment network on YouTube and Facebook. We bring you weekly interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship, community involvement, also reaction to business news and community news. This does not happen without your support. Thank you.